Welcome to my Megasquirt digital dash video thingy. Hope it's of use to somebody. Hi, welcome to this wonderful studio. Why's that gone offline? Oh, we've already got issues already. Come back in a minute. Alright, not got a clue what happened there. So, let me just explain what we've got here. We've got a Megasquirt 2 ECU. It's DIY build, you can buy them yourself as well. Pre-built, about 150 quid, maybe 200 by the time you've bits and bobs. So yeah, you buy all the components yourself and you can make it yourself. Check out all the links in the descriptions for where you get stuff from. Different companies sell these. There's a Megasquirt 1, which is the older version, and there's obviously a Megasquirt 3, which is a newer version. Never moved on to that yet. Will do one day, maybe in the next build, but I've used them for years. I've run them on Vauxhall powered minis. I'm running this one on the 16 valve BMW K1100 A series. I love them. They take a bit of getting used to if you're a bit of a fiddler, pardon the expression. They're great. I love them. You build all the components, the injector controllers, all the inputs, the power supply, everything inside. You get to know it, and you have problems with it, and you debug it, and it's great. But yeah, maybe I'll video another time of how to build one, because I've already built it. So it comes with all this case. It's lovely. What you see here, you can buy two different versions. This is called a gym stim. So basically, it's a simulator. It simulates being an engine. And down here you've got different potentiometers on here which control different things like manifold pressure, coolant temperature, TPS, O2 sensor, and you've got your RPM. The gym stim is like an upgraded version. You can get a standard stimulator which works okay, but this one simulates toothed wheels. So if you know what you're doing with ECUs, you find modern cars have toothed crank wheels. They're 32 teeth, 64 teeth, missing teeth, blah blah blah. But that does that. This all simulates that, which is good. Apart from it's slightly in my case, I'll get into the details in a minute. And then there's loads of jumper points, LEDs. It's great for diagnostics. You can get the whole thing and test all your ECU before you've even gone near your car. The next thing I've got is Tuner Studio, which is a great piece of software. I paid for it. You get all the full NORs, and there's extra bits. There's a free version that does a lot anyway. But I paid it for it. It's $30 at the time. I've had it for years. Brilliant. So again, this is what you see in all the TV shows when they're doing the rolling roads and all that sort of stuff. I won't go again into too much detail, but again, you can see here the screen, engine speed, throttle position, coolant temperature, air fuel. Again, this is all just connected up to the ECU and just reading it. So, as for an example, I twiddle my knob. You can see the throttle positioning, opening and closing. So you're simulating a throttle being opened, which is great. And then we can adjust the coolant temperature, which is great because if we had the RPM working, which we haven't, because this does do the tooth wheel that I've got, but because inside the ECU you've got a few tweaks and potentiometers in there, and so you can get it exactly working for whatever crankcase sensor you've got, VR signal, so they're tuned to the one that I've got in the car. Sadly, this gym stim doesn't pick that up in those settings. If I tweaked what's inside the MS, it would Megasquirt would pick it up. But I'm not going to do that because I just know it works. I don't care too much. All I'm trying to do in this video is prove, which I'll finally get round to, is this little mini dashboard. And we'll just go into a bit more detail in a second. So yeah, as always with these dashboards, ECUs, it's always connecting them up to your current dashboard and doing what you go. With the mini one, it's very mechanical. There's really not much in there. I've just ignored it really. I've had the thing working. We drive around. To be honest, I don't even have a temperature sensor. But I saw a guy posting a message on the MS forums, Megasquirt forums, last year, and he made this tiny little dashboard. It's more for like diagnostics really. Which is ideal. I don't need a big full LCD dashboard because they don't hardly ever work really. All you want is a little diagnostic that tells you RPM, O2 sensor, throttle position, RPM, things like that, battery voltage, and that's all this did. So yeah, talked to the guy. He did some more. He's Rob from Australia. So yeah, he posted me over his new version. Again, in the description, I'll do all the links to his website. You can contact him if you're interested. So yeah, tiny little board, chip on there. Got a chip on there. He's programmed it all. It's all configurable. And yeah, it took me a while to actually buy the right TFT module. It's a tiny little screen, as you can see. But that's all I need. I just need something mounted in the car so I can just keep an eye on sensor values. So that once you get the right module, which is completely my fault for buying all the wrong ones, that plugs in. You got a feed, and then there's a plug here which will connect up to the RS232 connection, which this uses. But I don't want to just yet because obviously I'm just connected up to the computer. So what we do, we just plug this in, and you can just see it light up, which is really exciting. After a few days of the only thing I've had to do, which it didn't work the other night because I didn't know what I was doing, was on these boards. I'll try and put the part numbers in there. There's, if we take the screen off, there's a little soldered jumper on the bottom here. It decides whether it's going to run in 5 volt mode or 3.3 volts. It needs to be in 3.3 volts to work with this board. So you just have to solder the connection up and it works. Otherwise, if your screen's not working, maybe you haven't done that. So that's a first problem I had. So yeah, I'm just going to drive this off the gym stim for the moment, just about 12 volts, which we can just connect up now. So there's a socket over here for ground. As I said, there's loads of jumpers all here. This is great for just experimenting and prototyping, as they call it. Boom. As you can see, it's lit up. I'm not too sure if anything can be seen. But yeah, it's come up with no comms, which is great. That means its program's running. The dash is doing what it's supposed to be doing, but obviously I haven't connected it to the RS232, so it's not picking up anything. So what we need to do now is I've got an old RS232 cable. We're going to cut this up with tools that we have around us. They look like nail clippers, but they're not. They're proper electrical clippers, honestly. So we're just going to snip the end of this off the correct end, and we'll just work out the 3 wires that we need to the ground, the signal, or whatever it is, and connect it up and see if we can get this dash to work. So yeah, we'll turn the laptop off now because we don't need it, because you can only really have one thing connected at once, sadly. Well, maybe there's ways of doing it, but in the end, that's far too intelligent for me. Yeah, so let's disconnect all this and get something working. Yes, I should be following more instructions and doing a bit more research. I was trying to pin out the cable to get the correct pins. My Logic Pro wasn't working too well, giving me false readings. Needed a meter really, but I can't be bothered to go in the garage and get one. So I quickly looked up wiring diagrams for RS232 and the colours, and I matched the wires up to the pins that I need. And I'll get a different error now. It's called ID mismatch. So I am pretty sure 100% that it's something I'm doing wrong. And so either I've got the things connected up. The only thing I have is I've got the things connected up wrong. Nothing else to do. I can't remember though. I think I might have had to tell him what ECU I had and stuff. So hopefully I've got all that right. But I'm not too sure. So this video I was hoping to show you a working dashboard, which isn't going too well. And boom! The end of the day, the next morning. It's really hard to actually show this because of the backlight coming off. But in the end I contacted Rob in Australia. He replied saying, have I upgraded my firmware on my ECU? I said, no, I'm stupid. He said, well, don't be stupid and upgrade it. So I just did that this morning. Fairly simple, had to just change a setting in Windows to get it to work on this, because I've got a USB to serial. It sometimes has a bit of a paddy. I upgraded the firmware, and bish bash bosh, it's connected. You can see at the top here we've got RPM. Obviously, as I said, my RPM is not technically working, but I do know it works once it's on the car. We've got air fuel ratio, we've got coolant sensor, manifold pressure, and there's a voltage. These are all sort of configurable. You can swap these around. What widgets you want, these just set the configuration like I wanted. And I think there's a switch that you can connect up as well to make the lights go dim and not. But yeah, so if we just tweak the TPS, can you see the TPS? Can you see the 55? No, not the 55. We don't want TPS, we want coolant temperature. So 55, 42, 21. You see it's going down as I'm twiddling my knob. We've got the air fuel ratio one. 90.3, 10.1, you can see it changing. Go back down again. And then manifold pressure at the bottom there, 18, 21. I think that's in bar or PSI, I can't remember now. PSI, obviously, it's a bit silly if that's bar. And then the voltage, which is staying, just showing you that it's 10.9 volts. So again, excellent. We've got that working. We've just bodged the cable like that. Sorry for the moving the hands around. I need to get one of those proper gimbals. And yeah, if there's any tips on how I can film stuff that's giving off light, maybe I need to be more light in this room. But anyway, it's nice to sleep on things and then fix things when you wake up in the morning before breakfast. But yeah, Megasquirt MS tiny little dash, diagnostics dash as I like to call it. You need to build some sort of case for it, get it mounted in the car, and that's going to be excellent now. And hopefully, yeah, I'll show it running sometime. Alright. Oh, curry for tea. Around some friends. So, yeah. Oh, let's go wake up and get to work.